Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the stream.
Good evening.
Uh, I just wanted to go through the announcements today and do a quick stream. I forgot my glasses. I just came to the office for the stream now. I'll just get started, guys, and whoever's watching. So I posted the roadmap for Q1 26. January, we launched Turbine, right? The website measurement tool. And January will still be about Turbine, about marketing it, um, maintaining it, fixing bugs and adding critical features that are still missing, kind of. Doing some offline networking, planning the development of February, and also hiring an editor and or filmer. So if you have any recommendations, just shoot them my way. And we are gonna take care of Turbine in January and just make sure that all of that is solid enough to kind of run on its own for a little while. Obviously, I will keep an eye on it, and I will try to run some ad campaigns towards the URL and run some keyword bidding campaigns to get traffic from Google searches. And yeah, hopefully we get to that goal of 300 users by the end of January. It was very reasonable goal actually, but yeah, I wonder whether I get there. I'll definitely try to crank up whatever crank I can um, to get more eyes on it and get more people to try it out, right? And that's also why I was saying that I'm adding a free tier to it so that people can test their website for free on desktop and Wi-Fi. And this will happen this week still, you know. So yeah, that's January, right? So February, I think is gonna be super exciting. I'm super excited about it, because I know how to get there, right? I don't 100% know all the details, all the implementation details, but I want to make an iOS app that did exactly what the browser extension already did and more, right? And I checked it again today that from all the traffic that, for example, Turbine has, right? When you load Turbine, right, you're loading about 2 megabytes of resources. When they're all compressed, it's around 600 kilobytes, right? And I analyzed the bundle, and we can reduce the bundle by 80%, right? And maybe 90%. And then, like, to me, that is 10x efficiency, right? So I would say it's ultra efficient, right? That's why I'm advertising this mobile browser as ultra efficient. And why are we building a mobile browser and not a desktop browser? Simply because people that right now don't have access to the internet mostly use mobile devices or have access to mobile devices. People that have a very bad connection to the internet use mobile devices, right? And do they use an iPhone? No, right? But an iPhone user might use it and might be more willing to pay for it, right? And when we have paying users for this, or when that would become possible, right? I would use that money to make it for free on Android. And the implications of those two conditions being fulfilled, right? The fact that the browser can render modern websites on a 3G connection, that is the first condition that we want to make possible, right? And then the browser can run on a $30 mobile device, right? If we can meet those two conditions and make it attractive for companies to run on, or like for companies to develop with, then we get to integrate that missing billion people. That is the insight, that is what I believe. Like, if we can make it run on a 3G connection, make it run on a $30 mobile device, and make it appealing to develop on for companies, then we get to that billion users that currently can't really access the internet. And part of that is providing common services and optimizing them to the point where the browser does a lot of work, right? The browser becomes very, very capable. So now the website itself doesn't need to have their analytics service by themselves, have their authentication service by themselves, have their payment service, right? They don't need to talk to the PayPal API if the browser has a payment layer, right? Which iOS and Android offer. The website doesn't need to talk to an analytics service, Google Analytics or whatever analytics, if the browser has an analytics service that makes batch requests to a centralized service that provides that for developers. And the website doesn't need to authenticate against Google and do a login and a register and a verification and all that if it has an authentication layer that does that for the website. You get what I'm saying? So we're eliminating all of that network traffic in order to provide the most efficient user experience that is possible. And like, people say that you shouldn't build technology and then sell the technology. You should solve a problem and then sell the technology, right? But this is just what a current browser solves for people, right? We will do it 10 times as smooth, right? So it's like buying a Mercedes. We are the Mercedes, and all the other people are the bus, or like the Volkswagen. And I just think that caring about user experience, caring about efficiency and performance is not wrong. It is something that is needed to reach those people, but also to enable an experience that is so good that you want to pay for it, or so good that you want to use it. And I think if we start going into that direction of just, doing everything ultra efficient, it is a net benefit for everyone. Right. That's kind of my conviction, right? That we just built the best thing ever, and then we give it to people. I mean, nothing would I would want nothing else, So that is February, right? Figuring all these moving parts out and figuring out how we can get to that. And this might be super tough, and this might be a roller coaster, but fuck yeah, I'm down for it. If the outcome is insight and high performing software, then fuck yeah, I'm in for it, right? And yes, the Apple ecosystem is a bit constraining, but we'll figure it out. We'll figure it out. So then in March, we test the app and we launch it on test flight so that people can use it on their phones. And we do comprehensive testing. And the demo that I have in my head, right, that I think would be really dope would be to put our app on a phone and have it in one hand, and have Google Chrome or Safari or Firefox on another phone in the other hand, and then loading the same page and looking how long it takes. Right? And then we can see, oh, this shit is like way faster, right? And if we do that in Germany in the forest, right, we might see some difference in loading speed, right? Maybe if we're good, it might be 1 or 2 seconds, which would already be kind of crazy and really exciting. But if we do that in Africa or in India, right, who knows what will happen? Who knows what will happen? And I'm really excited about building something and then testing it in the real world. But obviously, it has to work first. And I won't fly to India or Africa if it doesn't work, right? But if it works, then we go there and we test it and we figure it out. And if it works, in my opinion, it's completely undeniable. So guys, I'm really excited, but I'm also, I get that feeling, that nervous feeling, like will be will we be able to pull it off in time? And I don't know, I'll just work the hardest I can to get that demo and to get that proof, right? And I will leave things maybe a little bit chaotically. if that in turn means that we can show an awesome demo. So let's just quickly go through the new website. Make it smaller actually. So I just wanted to leave it kind of minimal, because most websites have too much shit on them. And at the end of the day, people are also supposed to read a little bit what we are writing about here, right? Did I use AI to build this website faster? Hell yeah, because like it's not worth it figuring out all these details if it's just something that you look at. It's not something that you use. It's not, you just look at it, you just scroll through it, right? And I get, yeah. So this is the new pricing that I have in mind for Turbine, and it means that we let people try it out, right? And they can understand for themselves whether they like it or not. And then they get a choice. They can say, hey, I just want to try it out. I don't really care. And I have a wallet already and I just want to try it out, right? So then they can pay per use like it is now. Or they can get a plan and get all these premium features that cost $100 a year, which is very, very cheap compared to another tool. And to the other tool in the space that offers a plan like this. It's 20% of what they want, right? So it's like the cheapest plan to get if you want these features. This is incredibly cheap at the moment. This would be around 20 euros, something like that, right? But it creates that buy pressure, I think. If people buy this, right, it means we burn 20,000 UTCC at the end of the month. And I think it's kind of cool, getting those automated measurements and understanding when your website becomes slower for some reason. Because people miss something or miss things in development, right? Or especially if they hire non-technical people to maintain the website, right? This will require some more programming to do this, but it's very doable. It's not complicated. All right, but it's also not that crazy, it's just whatever. It's just nice little tool, right? Most importantly, I think it is a tool for this because we can use Turbine to measure the performance of our website in regards to this browser and like what it is capable of. And the true UTCC people, they know already what this is, right? It's something that we definitely pioneered as a thought, right? Like, but it's not about who pioneered what, right? It's just about like, can we deliver it? And yes, if it is 3G performance, right? It is super battery efficient. It is like, we will get the exact numbers on that, and then we can say that more confidently, but I'm sure it's way more battery efficient. If a website, instead of being 2 megabytes, it gets to 200 kilobytes, like, of course it's super battery efficient, right? And these are the services that I talked about, and this is exactly what I was talking about, reducing the network overhead, right? This is completely possible. This is completely possible. And think about it, if you want to do payments with PayPal, for example, right? You have a request that you request to PayPal, hey, this is my application. I wanna log this user in, right? So then they get to PayPal. Then they fetch the PayPal website. So that's already one request, right? On PayPal, they then say, hey, this is my email password, right? So then PayPal sends another request to verify that password, right? And if PayPal is smart, they do the verification of the payment, of the login details, and the redirect to the payment page in one request, right? They just redirect to the payment page, the checkout page, right? So then in the optimal case, there will be 2 requests, right? But at that point, we've already, now we're loading the second page, right? So that's, so at that point, we've probably already sent tracking data, we've sent authentication data in that post request, right? We've downloaded the PayPal UI, right? So these 2 requests are already super bloated, right? And then we are on the checkout page, and now we're saying, okay, we want to buy it. Here's the I click accept, right? So now that request goes to PayPal servers, and they are saying, hey, he wants to buy it, right? So that in the optimal case, this would only be 3 requests, right? This is the optimal case without tracking, without, if PayPal would run on bare HTML, right? No UI framework, it would only be 3 requests, right? It's probably more like 10 requests because it's probably super bloated, right? And then the PayPal server says, hey, he paid, return to the app, right? So now we load the app again, right? And if the browser is smart, he has cached most of the things, and we just load it from cache. So it's kind of like 3.5, right? Requests. In the optimal case where PayPal and your web app, it runs on bare HTML, right? Or maybe PayPal is also super cached, right? So then we only have like 3 requests. If PayPal is like super cached already, you have used it 10 minutes before, right? Then we have like 3-4 requests, right? That's the optimal case. Now, if we have a payment provider inside of the browser, right, that gets authenticated when you start the browser, right, when the browser context loads. So that is one request at the start of your browser, right? And then you click, I want to buy this. And then it says in the UI, are you sure you want to buy this, right? And from which credit card and so on. And you say, yes, I want to buy this. So now you send that data, right, to whatever server that needs to verify that you paid it, but you send it to the payment server, and then you send it to you get maybe you send again, like you get some data back, right? Saying like we've received your transaction, and or like you're saying like, I've paid it, give me the new data now, or give me like a fresh page, so where it says I'm a premium user now, or I bought this, right? So you have like 3 requests also. But the one their first one only happens once, right? So it's really more like 2 requests. And this is where I'm going with all of this, right? It's like, why the fuck should we use all of these services when it's not only expensive to incorporate PayPal and pay them a fee every time the transaction goes through and all of that, right? But then also, we have the network overhead that is a problem on the user side, because now the user is spending data, and maybe the user has a 3G connection and it barely goes through and it takes forever and blah 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 blah, and it's not comfortable and it doesn't feel native and blah 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 blah, right? So I think maybe in the backend we use PayPal, right, to handle transactions, or we use some kind of payment provider to handle transactions, right? But the majority of like the information gathering and then giving the user a payment choice, all of that is browser native, and it's like done the first time you open the browser and not every time you want to pay something, and you just save so much on the cumulative aspect of it, right? So those are the ideas, guys. Reusing all of this shit that every app has, right? And just saving so much data like being processed from the browser and from the network. And that is what why I said in yesterday's video also, like the front end part of optimizing apps is just 10% of it, because the rest is optimizing the user experience, where you don't even have those friction points that make you load these other services or make you load these other websites, right? You're just reducing the friction points of the user experience so far that at the end of the day, like, you save so much data being transferred back and forth. And by the way, when that payment happens in the browser native approach, where it's only 2 requests, it could very well collect analytics, and send it later along with other analytics. But it's not constantly sending analytics to all these different things, right? It sends it to one platform that collects it, and then that platform could distribute it to other, analytics people, or it could be an API. That platform could be an API, right? But the point is to think about shared infrastructure and the shared pain points in the experience, so that we can put them into the browser, make it super native feeling and fast and performant, and save all that network overhead and make the user experience super frictionless. That is that, all right? And it's just a call to action right here. It's the same as before. Yeah, that's it, right? And I hope you got some insights from this. I was getting fired up already again. Yeah, guys, that's it pretty much for the stream tonight. Mm, I see you tomorrow. All right. Next 2 days, I will be next next three days. I will be traveling a bit, but I'll be working, and I'll keep you updated. But I'll see you every day. There will be daily streams. All right. See you tomorrow.